So this week's project is an opening dress for Flower and Garden Festival. I am excited for this. It's on Wednesday and this is Saturday. So I don't have that much time to do this. I think I can pull it off. I think I'll be able to get most of it done this weekend. What I'm planning on doing is a Minnie Mouse garden inspired, that's the word, look, which is not something I've ever really done before. I've never been like Minnie Mouse, but I'm trying to use the things I have here. So I have some red fabric. I have a hat with ears on it, and I have a black dress. So I'll be making a red corset, and instead of polka dots, the polka dots will be little white flowers. And then she usually wears this iconic hat with a yellow hat with a white flower. So my black hat, I'm gonna put yellow flowers all around it. I think it's gonna be really cute. I picked up the flowers at Joann's for like $14, which is pretty good. They had a big sale, as they always do, if you ever shop at Joann's. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing mostly 2-day build, but really over 4 days for Flower and Garden opening day. So come along, let's see if we can get it done.
The first part of any sewing project obviously is cutting out the fabric, so that's what I did first. I just really also wanted to show off how cute my fabric weights are because I love them. Next bit here, I'm going to zigzag stitch around all of my pattern pieces. I'm using a canvas to line, and then you'll also see kind of a pale pink. That's my waxed back canvas that I use for the areas that I'll punch grommets in. That was a tip given to me, and it has been invaluable. So I've got all of the pieces ready for sewing. I've got my boning channels on this front piece, and then on each additional piece except for this front one, I've added an additional boning channel for support, like you saw. And the only pieces I didn't do that on are the back pieces because I think they're going to be small enough that I don't need them. But I can add later if I think that it'll be necessary. But it means I'm ready to start sewing the pieces together. Yay! I put little snips in this to help the curve of the pattern. I'd like to do this piece first, this front, when I'm doing a corset, the cup part, because I think it's the worst part. And it's sort of like that thing when you eat your vegetables first, so then you can enjoy, say, like the good things afterwards. That's kind of what I do. I like to do the difficult part first, so then I can enjoy how easy the rest of the corset is. So all this is clipped in. I will run a stitch right along this curve, and then I'll come in and finger press this back. Sometimes I use my small iron, but because of this this canvas, it bends really nicely. I'll be able to finger press it. I'll finger press this down, and then I'll stitch on either side, and that will create a boning channel on either side of the seam. So let's go.
So for this project as well, I'm also using a denim needle just because the canvas that I have is really thick. I think this canvas is going to give it a little bit more structure than just say using like a really, like a linen or a typical corset interfacing. Again, this is a costume corset. This is not a historical one, anything like that. So I'm just using what we have around, and what we have is a canvas and then a cotton on the other side. So that thicker needle helps it punch through a little bit better, even though we are going to see some difficulties every once in a while. But the momentum once we get going really helps. So back stitch. So I used to pin this when I
first started making corsets, but I found that just doing a really good iron and press on it is all that I really need to keep it where it's supposed to go. Okay. I also like to keep tension on it so we have a nice flat front on it. Back open. Focus. And just, you don't have to go fast. You don't want any wrinkles on that front end, front side. Just make sure to hold it down. Before I go on to the next part, just check, make sure, and it's nice and cleaned up. And now we'll just repeat it with the other side. And here we go. I noticed after I started that this piece of fabric has a little bit of a spot on it. Again, I'm just using fabric I have around the house. So I am going to go in and make sure that that has a flower on it when we're sewing this. But there's the hardest part done. And now I'll go in and sew all the other panels together. And then we should have the shell of a corset and it should be ready to bone. So at this point, just looking over, I've got a couple of flaws in it. I have one place where my bobbin ran out and then I have a little spot I pointed out earlier. But overall, it's completely ready to start the boning process. You can see here this waxed fabric. I cut the edge off of that, the excess, before I wore it. But this is, this is in its raw form. I also decided with this one I was going to cut a little bit off the bottom edge, just to make it a little bit easier to get into rides if we did any. Spoiler alert, we didn't. But it made it a little bit more comfortable for me. I have a very short torso. corset. I did cut it differently. I think it's cute, but I'm not totally happy with the way it's fitting. I might add a back panel, or I might not. Just rip the flower off. Going great, guys. So it's the next day. I got all the sewing done I wanted to on the corset. I added these cute little flower polka dots, and then I really wasn't happy with the fit. So I went ahead and seam ripped this in the back, added waxed canvas, and grommeted it just to give me a little bit more wiggle room. Since I am wearing this to the park, I want to be as comfortable as possible. But I'm going to go ahead and pre-lace the back just to give it that little bit of stretch and wiggle room. This is metal boned, so while it is very comfortable, it is structured. So if I'm doing something like when I'm using zip ties, it's going to have a lot more flex on it. So adding this back panel, I think, will just give me a little bit more overall flexibility. I'm not trying to tight lace this by any means. It's not my goal with this corset. It still look cute. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-lace it on the back. I'll lace it again on the front when I try it on later. And I'm going to get to work on the hat today. One thing I do if I'm lacing with ribbon, especially novelty ribbon or something that's going to fray, is I tape the ends of it. It makes it a lot easier to pull it through. It doesn't unravel, and then when I'm done, I cut it off. But it just kind of makes it act more like a shoestring, which I usually lace with. So just a little tip. Here it is on the dress form. Again, this is this dress form I've been using smaller as usual because I have a commission, so I don't want to keep toggling it back and forth because my dress form is old and falling apart. But here she is on a slightly smaller one. I've just got her clamped in the back, and I think this is so cute. I think it's definitely reading Minnie Mouse, which I love. Super duper cute, and the ribbon matches great. You can see here, just for display purposes right now, she's got, it kind of tapers off. They just have, I didn't want to bead the whole thing, let's be real. This is for like a costume. But the red matches really, really, really well. That was a gamble. So far, the only things I've had to get for this are the flowers and the ribbon. So that's pretty good if everything else I had in my stash. I'm really proud about that.
was my Minnie Mouse dress look. This was last Wednesday. It's Tuesday now. Sorry for the delay in the video. But overall, I think it came out really cute. I don't love the black dress I used under it, but I didn't have anything else, so that's what I wore. I usually like to make my own, but that's just something I had. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed watching. I have some really exciting projects that I'm working on. I have some inspiration from Fashion Week that I intend to use, and it's 6 months until Dragon Con, so that prep will be starting, and I cannot wait to show you the really cool stuff I'm gonna make. So until then, keep sewing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.